All right. I will get started if nobody has any reason for me not to, and I'll watch for anybody else that joins here. Um, 2025, I'll start with my updates and starting with our employee updates. Actually, there's not really any updates on employees. Buffy is in her second year at grad school in New York. So she's still working for us a couple hours a month remotely, but she's mostly doing the grad school stuff. Kara, Robin, and Nick are still working for us remotely part-time. Um, so that's it. Obviously, I'm still here. Ed and Bob help out a lot with the technical stuff. Amy's still bookkeeper. So that's all stayed pretty much the same. Our show's produced summary. Let me figure out how to share my screen here. And I can show you guys the breakdown of our shows for the year. Give me just a second. Find the right thing. There we go.
There we are.
It's a little big for the screen. Um, okay, here we go. Our show is produced this year pretty similar to last year. About nine fewer. There's our total from 2025 to 2024. But everything has stayed pretty much the same. We're still covering the same boards that we always have. Select board, advisory, school committees are big ones, conservation, planning, ZBA. Those folks. Um, we've got our regular lineup of what do I want to say? Income producing clients that we have. Wellesley Choral Society, Voices of Metro West, and Concord Band. Those three groups pay us to live stream or record their concerts during the year. So that's actually income coming in. They're all nonprofits, so we're also helping them out. And we end up with content that we can show on the channel too, which is awesome. So we've got great music to go on the channels. And actually this year we've added sort of a new client. Stowe TV hired me, to help out with the audio at their special town meeting this past fall. Um, so that brought in a few extra dollars there. And Jonathan's interested in having us do that again if our town meetings don't overlap with each other. Sometimes Stowe and Bolton have town meetings on the same night. So if that's the case, obviously, we would not be able to help. But, if it's like it was this past fall where they have a special town meeting and we don't, there's no issue there. A few other cool things we did this year. We always do our fun events with the Bolton Fair and Parks and Rec, the Halloween parade, the tree lighting, that sort of regular stuff. We also did a couple pieces with a few nonprofits. So Buffy made a really cool piece with the group Feed a Neighbor, which is out of Hudson. And it is um, meals. Um, and then we're also in the process of getting something together with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. There was a child in Bolton who got to help light the Christmas tree at Fanwell Hall. She's a part of the Make-A-Wish group, and so they reached out to us and told us the story. And so we're working with them to put together like uh, a short video on that. Hang on just a second. I just got a text from Ed. Sorry. About that. Ed is having a hard time joining the meeting. So, but he said to proceed. While he fights with his computer. And if anybody can figure it out, I'm sure it's Ed. So
Is he, well, that's true. Is he using the your latest email? Because that's what I used and it came right in.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I did too, and sometimes computer browsers may not drop right in. So what I do is I download the app. And
Oh,
so if you download the app and then go up to your download and launch from there, sometimes with Firefox, I've had issues with it, but when I download the app, I don't. So maybe he's got some
okay.
kind of problem there because it's easier to get in just through the browser. You don't have to do
Yeah.
the download, but the download seems to give you more reliable access. So might suggest that he comes in with the app.
Yeah.
But
When he
anyway,
clicks off the email, it'll give him the
Sure.
choice to do either, I think.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I gave him those suggestions. See if that helps out any. Zoom is fickle sometimes. It can be strange.
Yeah, it is. It's yeah, user hostile.
I know. Well, I was saying to Bob earlier, it updates itself so often that
Yeah.
like when it updates things, some of your settings change and then you start something up and you're like,
Yeah.
wait, I can't hear anybody.
Well, I had it running and it turned off the audio, so I had to restart it. So it's like, what?
Yeah, yeah, that happens to me too. All right, so cool. So that's all the shows. That's basically everything interesting happening there. We can also talk about some of the metrics of our most watched shows. Obviously, we unfortunately don't know what people are actually watching on the TV because Comcast doesn't give us any of those numbers. But I have online metrics. So from YouTube, here's our top. Yeah, you guys should be seeing that.
Yeah, we are.
Here's our top shows on YouTube, which is the platform where we get the most viewership. Um, as usual, Graduation is our most watched show. So this is we have both the live stream and then I also like after I edit it and kind of clean up the audio and stuff, that's the full edit there. So for Graduation, we're really looking at about 1,400-ish views altogether between the live stream and the
Mhm.
final edit. So that one's obviously very popular. It is every year, which makes sense. Um, Something cool though, the budget override interview we did back what feels like a long time ago now, back in the spring. That one came in number two. So 487 views on that one. And that was spearheaded by us. We reached out and said, we know this is coming down the horizon. People are going to need a lot of information. And Brian and Marie were great. They were on board. They, put together this wonderful, um, informative video talk with Panny, and so I hope that that was helpful for the town, to kind of have a video with that information on there. And then also along those same lines, when they did the three public budget forums, you'll see those three videos were really high up as well. And then of course town meeting. So we really notice the big spikes in viewership whenever there's something really interesting going on in town. So you can look at our YouTube channel and see, what's happening in town this year. So that was definitely the biggest things there. Interestingly, the graduation from 2024 showed up on our top 10 list. And then rounding out the top 10 was the video Buffy did with the Feed a Neighbor group, which is cool. The government meetings, they're pretty standard. So obviously, Select Board and School Committee are our most watched government boards. But as long as there's nothing like really controversial or exciting going on, it's each episode is viewed, you know, a handful of times. But when there is something, where people are really concerned about, then you'll see that spike, for a particular meeting or a particular couple of meetings where they're talking about it. For the VOD, I have to pull open. I think I have to change this. Are you guys seeing my like Excel sheet there?
No, we're still seeing the YouTube
Okay.
thing.
Okay. I think I gotta switch this in Zoom.
Well, what about one of the tabs up top? Don't you just grab that tab where it says Bolton?
It's in Excel. It's not on the internet, so I think I've got to switch.
Yeah, but up on the top, you Bolton Access, it looks green. Like I can't see. It looks. See where it says Bolt. See where you got CAC survey. Move it. Yeah, to those
Yeah, but
right
those
up where
are,
you move your
but,
cursor up.
Oh, hang on.
but
Well,
those were internet connections though.
yeah,
They
those
were.
are on the
Oh,
internet, and I need to
oh,
open
okay,
up Excel, so I've got to like
okay.
change Zoom to. I have to tell Zoom that I want to share Excel rather than the internet.
Ah, okay.
There it is.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So with the VOD, it's structured a little differently. It's not quite as easy to see like what your most watched shows are because it just downloads um, a CSV file.
Mhm.
But for the VOD, like in general, it's a lot less popular of a platform for people to watch on than YouTube is.
Mhm.
But I can tell there's a handful of people who regularly watch it. One thing that's cool about the VOD is that you can see what IP address people are watching from. And so you can notice that it's like oftentimes the same IP address watching certain things. Um, so for the public shows on the VOD, interestingly enough, we got a few views for the really old show that we did, The Road to the Revolution. That was the play that the Historical Society did.
Yeah.
And then, again, handful for the budget override interview and the budget public forums. And then otherwise, it's a lot of the government meetings. So conservation, planning, school committee, select board, kind of normal stuff there. Uh, so I think that's everything on that. I'm gonna stop sharing that. Last piece of my sort of general update, is an update on the streaming bill legislation. So if you remember from last year, it got pulled because they didn't feel like they had enough support for it. So it's been resubmitted, um, and it's making its way back through legislation now. So apparently this is very normal. Most bills go through this process of it usually takes 3 legislative sessions for a bill to finally make its way all the way through um, the legislature. So this is its second go around. The good thing is that it has gotten a favorable recommendation. It's being sent to the Ways and Means Committee. Um, and so I think last time was almost like a preview. So like now I feel like our representatives have a better understanding of what the streaming bill is, what our needs are as PEG stations, and hopefully I know for a fact that there's a lot of legislation that legislators who um understand what our needs are and are fully on board. So I think it's just a matter of if we can get enough support garnered for it. And I may be wrong on this, but I believe that we will find out probably more about how it's doing towards the end of the summer. That's how it worked on the last go round. So that's my feeling
So,
this go
so
round as
what
well.
exactly is this? Some kind of regulatory licensing or something? What exactly does the bill allow for or mandate?
Well, it's basically the same thing that we currently have with the traditional cable
Yeah,
packages,
yeah.
but charged to streaming providers. So your Netflix, your Hulu, your Amazon Prime. There are some states that are already doing this.
What, one fee for streaming in general, or is that what it is? Or
I'm not entirely sure. Oh, sorry, there's Ed. Let's see if we can get him there. I'm not entirely sure how it's structured. And so the
maybe
group,
you could point me to it and I'll go read it rather than tie up the meeting right now.
yeah,
Look at
so
email.
if
Yeah.
you go to
Or
yes. So actually, yes, I'm going to email all you
yeah,
guys
okay, that's fine. I don't want to
afterwards
type anything.
because if you have the chance before the end of the week, if you can reach out to your representatives and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, check on this bill,"
Yep, yep,
that
yep,
would
yep.
be great.
That's what I want to do. I want to read it and
Yeah.
then reach out. Okay.
Perfect. Yes, great.
And the
It'll be
idea,
much easier for me to like copy stuff from the Mass Access website because
Exactly.
yeah, this stuff is a little bit over my head, so I'm sort of parroting what
Oh,
they're
that's
telling
great.
us.
That's cool, Nikki. Thank you.
but I think the bottom line though is that it's to generate revenue for access stations that they've lost through cable.
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
All right.
And
Yeah,
that's so that's really what the idea
Okay.
is.
All right.
and I believe the structure is very similar to the way that cable companies are currently taxed on their profit. It's just, for the
Mhm.
streaming companies and not just the traditional cable services.
Good enough. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. So yes, I will email that out.
Great.
So that's it for my sort of general updates. I also have lots of notes about revenue and budget planning, but we can get to that when we actually talk about numbers. And then also, Rick Merrill had emailed me a question. I don't see him on here at the moment, though, so maybe wait till the end when we do comments and questions, and I can talk about that then. So I think I'll turn it over to you, Ken, if you've got any updates.
Okay, I really don't have very much to cover. Nikki does all the work, and so there's very little that I have to do, and it is quite a pleasure in that respect. Um, but I was as everybody knows, I think some of us were involved with the Cable Advisory Committee that approved the Comcast contract for another 10 years. And so that's, uh, we don't have to worry about it for 10 years. And it puts in a slightly different uh, model for how the funding is generated, but it amounts to more or less the same sort of thing. So, but there's nothing really new from a operational point of view that came out of any of that. And so we're just moving along as we can.
Ken, we
Uh,
had spoken about possibly a high def channel. Did that wind up there, or are we still with our same two low def channels? Remember, a year or two ago, we were talking about that with the potential of doing some high def.
yeah. Um, I honestly don't remember what came out of that.
Hmm.
I think there was a provision that we could do something, but it didn't forbid it, but it didn't. They didn't weren't just handing it to us by
Well,
any means.
as I recall, there was a bandwidth or channelization requirement. Do you
Right,
remember about that,
right.
Bob? I think you
Bob,
were
I
part of
think,
that
yeah,
discussion.
Bob, I think you would be the one that would really remember that.
Can you hear us? Maybe not.
Bob Johnson?
What's that?
Oh,
Um, Graham asked about whether or not, about how we did in getting approval for a high definition channel from Comcast. Do you recall from that discussion?
Um,
I can look it up,
not,
but
nothing's happened as far as I know. So,
right.
because I had looked into this and asked the question some years ago about a high def channel where we could do some streaming video, where I had some sources for it. It's just that we didn't have the facility for it. And if we did have a high def channel, we might have some opportunities to put some additional programming up. And I just asked. So
yeah, well, Comcast promised going to digital
right,
transmission,
right.
and they haven't completed. They haven't gone any further with it.
Okay. Well, that answers the question then. So, so they still, it's probably more a factor of is the infrastructure available than are they going to give us the capability? And I suspect from your comment that when it's available infrastructure wise, they might offer it, but they're not going to go build it just for us. So, all right.
Oh,
Com
everything else is already digital. We're just kind of our equipment is still just hanging on there.
Now I think they did say that that we could upgrade our point with them uh, for a certain amount of money or something like that. But
Yeah, so
I'll
they
recheck that.
I'll have to go back to the notes and look, but it will cost a significant amount of money to upgrade. Um, and I've had trouble getting a hold of Comcast. I've emailed them a couple times asking them questions and or our representative and have not heard back. So
Nothing has changed there, as I recall.
yeah, they are purposefully not the easiest to work with, I
Yeah.
believe.
All right. All right.
Although who knows, it's hard to say. So
All right. Well, so much for that. All right. Yeah, that's all I had. I just wanted to see if we'd move forward, and it looked like we hadn't. So,
yeah. So guys, I have to apologize here. Zoom is telling me that my meeting, I'm about to run out of my free meeting, even though I have paid for the plan. And so I'm not entirely sure here if it's gonna shut us off. If it does, I will email you guys a new link. Um, yeah, that's frustrating.
yeah, 7:26. You had a 30 minute, so it's giving you a 4 minute warning, right?
Yeah, but I paid to upgrade and I did this yesterday so that we could have a longer meeting and it doesn't seem to have updated my account. I don't know.
Do we have anything in urgent that we have 3 minutes to do?
Well, we'll need to start a new meeting because I've got to
Okay.
go through the whole budget. So
Okay.
it's
Okay.
maybe it will figure it out. Sorry, guys. I'm not sure why this is. Oh, gosh.
Well, I have essentially an unlimited one, so
Well,
I could easily set one up
I
if you
should.
wanted,
I
but
mean, like I said, I just paid for it, but I wonder if because I set up the meeting before I paid for it, if it's still thinking this meeting is, I don't know.
We'll
Like,
find out in two and a
great.
half minutes. So,
Yeah, sorry,
all
guys.
right. Well, anyway, so I don't really have anything else uh, until we get into the budget. But except for thanks to Nikki for the amazing job you're doing in running the place.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Sorry, I'm just trying to see if I can get Zoom to not shut us off here real fast. It's giving me a spinning circle like it's thinking about things. Don't know if that's good or bad. Oh, it says your plan has been updated. So, all right, let's see if that keeps it from shutting us off. Oh, Zoom. Okay, well, anyway, uh, we'll proceed. And like I said, if it shuts us off, I'll quickly email out another link for us. All right, so on to the revenue forecasting, everybody's favorite part of the evening. So, last year, unfortunately, we took quite a drop from 2024. So we don't have Q4 in yet, but if it is trending in the same direction, it looks like we're probably going to lose about 9.7% over the year in our franchise fee. Um, so that is a bit unfortunate, but also somewhat predictable. On the good side, our production services have continued, like I mentioned before, with our three regular clients, and then we added Stowe TV. So it looks like we'll bring in about $4,222 from production income, which, is a drop in the bucket compared to Comcast, but Every little bit helps. I applied again this year for the Cultural Council grant and did not receive it, unfortunately. I believe that they always prioritize groups who have never received a grant from them. And so since we did 3 years ago now, I believe, we're probably not high on the list. And there's more need now too, so there's probably more organizations who are applying for grants from the Cultural Council. So it's very competitive. I'll apply again next year, we'll keep trying and never hurts to ask. So also on the good side, this year we did actually end up receiving the last employee retention credit checks from the IRS. And so those actually helped buffer the amount that we lost from Comcast. Unfortunately, that is the last of those. So that was a pandemic era program, and so that was the last of those that we will receive. All right, so on to budget planning. I will share my screen and show you guys the budget. There we go. All right, let me flip over to if I can see it. There we go. Yes, okay. Budget. Here we are. All right, so up here in this very first column, that's our 2025 budget. Column J here are the amounts from Amy through October 31st. And then column K is what I've estimated will be our final amount. Most of that's pretty easy to extrapolate. I will say, so the October 31st didn't have two of the Comcast quarters in it. So that's why that looks rather low compared to the final. And then column L is the proposed budget for 2026. So probably the most important piece here, the franchise fee. So I calculated that as a 10% loss from this year, which would put us at 75,356. Otherwise, the stuff is kind of a lot smaller in effect. We did a pretty good amount in DVD sales this past year. It tends to be between $400 and $700. It just really depends on how many parents want. It's actually most parents these days get USBs instead of DVDs, but we still do one or two DVDs. We offer both. Um, Oh, so one thing that is new that we did, Ken and Graham and I went and opened a new account at Middlesex Savings Bank, who have a money market account with a much higher interest rate than what we receive at Clinton, and they also have. Okay, well, I'll start again here. I mean, Ken has this document, so sure he's probably fully aware on it, and I'm sure he'll jump back on here shortly. Where'd I leave off? Okay, so reimbursement income, that is the money that we get from Stowe and Sterling Lancaster paying for their 1/3 of the school committee expenses, recording and all that. Production services, I estimated a little lower than what we've brought in this year, just like this year, there was an extra concert during the summer because it was a special anniversary concert that they won't have next year. Um, and so sometimes it's a little hard to guess exactly how many concerts there's going to be. So anyway, I figured estimate a little low on that. So that puts our total income at 81,456 for next year, estimated, of course. Expense wise, I really am not anticipating anything much different. Insurance goes up every year, and so I've tried to extrapolate out what that might look like. And equipment is more expensive. But that's, man, I really cannot predict how that changes. And in terms of equipment as well, it's weird little stuff oftentimes. It's gaffer's tape and batteries and the occasional cable and there's Ken. Great. Get Ken in here. So that's not even like major equipment purchases, it's just the little incidental stuff that we need every single year. Um, Outside services, I expect those will probably stay the same. Amy, our bookkeeper, is great, and she's worked for us for many years. Hi, Ken. Sorry about that.
Okay. Sorry, I had to check on Brenda and also put some wood on the fire.
That sounds nice and warm and toasty. So I was just digging into the expenses here and saying that basically I'm not anticipating really any huge differences from this year to next year. Um, Insurance goes up every year. I've tried to guess what that might be just based on what it was this year and how much it went up from the previous. Um, Equipment's a little bit more expensive.
Let's see,
Um,
what exactly is the insurance bill here? Can you roll down a little bit?
Yes. It might be up actually. Let me find it. Ah, there it is. So,
Okay, so that's a fairly significant amount of money. How often
it,
do we competitively bid that out to different companies?
we haven't in a long time, so that could be something to do.
I would, that's something that I would ask formally here is
Okay.
that fixed expenses like that, at least every year, what we do is we bid it out to at least two other competitors just to make sure that we're not
Sure.
overpaying for it.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. And I mean, if
Yeah,
there's a chance to get some savings there, then
exactly,
that would
exactly.
be
I mean,
great.
that's a considerable amount of money. So
For our budget, yes, it is.
exactly, that's exactly my point. Four
There's
percent.
there's not really anything else
Yeah, yeah,
that kind of inches towards that.
yeah.
Um, so gosh, what else? Given the tightness of the budget, I'm not proposing any changes to payroll. Payroll, we have paid a little bit more in processing fees, but it's not a huge amount. They've raised it, I think, maybe by $100. Um,
Um, Let me just make a comment. I think as a minimum, we should give you a cost of living increase. Uh, for the hourly people, I think that they can stay there, that's okay. But it seems to me you do so much that at least you ought to get the same cost of living increase that people on Social Security do or whatever, the 2 or 2.5%. And it's not going to break us, but it's well deserved. So that's my opinion anyway.
Mm, concur.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I can factor that in. At 2%, I think that would be about an additional $1,500, so it's not a huge amount, but yeah, so I can send that out to you guys. What else? Telephone and internet, that is unfortunately the cost of that. I've talked to Comcast and tried to reduce it, and that is what it is. And of course,
Um,
Comcast is the only game in town, so no changes there.
right. The one other thing I noticed
Mhm.
or was thinking about is would it make sense to approach the select board and say, hey, um, our income, as you know, is going down
Mhm.
and down. Is there any way that you could waive or reduce or whatever our rent?
Yeah, that's an
Um,
option.
Now, do we pay our own utilities or is that covered by the town?
That's covered by the
Covered by
town.
the law?
So I mean, honestly, our rent is pretty affordable. But yes,
Okay.
so
So the
all
town does pay for that.
yeah, town
Okay.
pays for all the
All
utilities,
right.
water, heating, all
Well, then
that.
I guess we can't complain too much. And it is something it is one thing that could be thought about though,
That's
of
true. Yeah, that is
a
that is
number that
something that
could
we
be
could ask
reduced.
for if it came to that. And so that puts us next year um losing $26,000 if those estimates pan out. So honestly, basically the past 4 years, we would have lost money had it not basically been for some amount of luck. I mean, work and luck, but we got the pretty good sized grant from the Cultural Council a few years ago, and then we had the employee retention credit checks come in 2 years in a row, which helped eat up that amount that we were missing. So next year, we may not have luck. If we don't get a grant, if there's not any kind of random government program that can help us, then that's the amount we're looking at, unfortunately. Um, but we do have a good amount of savings. So we're not in any kind of like immediate dire situation. Some quick numbers here. So in Clinton Savings Bank, our main account, we've got 165,665. Um, and the account we just opened at Middlesex, we opened it with 4,624 in checking, and then we put 20,000 in the money market account. I also just received Q3 Comcast payment. And Graham, I'll talk to you about this, but I'm thinking we maybe put that right in a CD
Mhm.
with Middlesex.
Well, let's take this offline, and when you think you have enough information, maybe
Yeah.
we should just take a look at cash flow. And I want to, and that's leading into a comment I want to make about what you just said. Yeah, we have savings, but I think what we really need to do is we need to take a look at our run rates, our cash flow, because if we don't, and
Mhm.
we'll say, well, we're not in any trouble until we are, right?
Right.
So if we are running negative, we need to identify that
Mhm.
and take a look, and and things like bidding out fixed expenses and things of that sort. Uh,
Right.
but I really want to be conscious of the fact that it's our run rates that matter more than what we may have in the bank
Mhm.
looking forward.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah,
Yeah,
we can have a meeting
yeah,
later on and
yeah.
get more like nitty-gritty into
Yeah,
all
I want to
that
kind of
stuff.
plan ahead and figure out where we put the money, and
Yeah.
and just look ahead 1 year, 2 year on these particular
Mhm.
slopes and see where we are, and try to
Yeah.
be proactive rather than reactive here.
Yeah,
So,
I think that makes a lot of sense.
yeah. Okay.
And so that actually leads pretty well into my next sort of point, which is that um, if the streaming bill stalls again, then I think we may want to talk about like what's the tipping point? What's the threshold where we need to start having a conversation with the town about how we can be sustainable?
Exactly.
There
That's my
are
point.
other stations well, there's a lot of stations all across the state who are in this very same situation, some of whom are in a far worse place than us, some of whom are in a better place than us in bigger towns. And so these conversations are starting to happen across the state, and some
Yeah, they
places
have to.
already. Um, there's a few options, and there's probably even more than this, but the first two that I've heard most other stations talk about is either one, receiving supplemental funding from the town, like through the taxpayers, or through payment in lieu of taxes was what one station was getting. I'm not entirely sure how that works.
Mhm.
Um, and then the other option would be to start putting some or all of our content behind a paywall, which I don't love that idea. I think it's tough for people to be engaged, especially with the government side of the town as it is, and I really don't want to put more barriers to that.
Paywalls have a tendency to blow up.
Yeah.
Even on real commercial outlets that put up paywalls.
Mhm.
People just
People probably say, I don't care that
exactly,
much.
exactly.
Right. So that's, that is not my preference for, I'd rather talk to the town about, this is where we're at. These are the services we provide, and like I said, I think that from my perspective, it makes sense to wait until the summer and see how things are going with the streaming bill, because if things are progressing in a positive direction with that, then that could help us out a lot.
What
Uh,
I'd like to do before the summer, and do me a favor after the holidays, set
yeah.
something up in January. And what I want to do is work with you to see what our cash flow situation is, what our run rates are, and then I want to do a little bit of predictive analysis so that
Sure.
when we do go to the town, we can say, well, if you don't do X, this is what happens by
Yeah.
Q3. If you help
Sure.
us with Y, we don't have that problem until
Mhm.
Q4 next year or something. And here's our
Right.
plan for that. So I
Yeah.
want to be able to proactively suggest here are the scenarios and here's the very specific quantifiable help that we need from you so that this doesn't blow up, that doesn't blow up, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and
Yeah.
I love presenting the idea of, if it comes to that, that we could present, some facts, not just,
I'll
oh,
build the if I'll get together with you in January. Let's get some
okay.
numbers, and I'll be more than happy to go and build the predictive model, the Excel model. No,
Okay,
the what
cool.
ifs in the Excel model. What if
Yeah.
if you do this, what happens there? If you do
Mhm.
that, what happens over there? That type of thing.
Yeah, that would be great.
So we can give some specific asks, and we can tell the town if you give us this,
Mhm.
that's the result.
Right.
Hard facts.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. So,
Yep,
yeah,
happy to do it.
we'll definitely do that after the holidays. That sounds good.
Good, thank you.
And too, and I think that if we have to have those conversations, Marie and the select board can give us further guidance about, how they think on the town side, how that interplay happens.
Yeah.
Also in the budget, our capital numbers. So as Ken mentioned, when we went to the new contract, it did change the way our capital is calculated. So we're now receiving our capital funding every quarter along with the franchise fee. It's figured at $1.07 per subscriber per month. Which of course means that unfortunately the capital money is going down because we're losing subscribers. Um, so we don't have, so this just started with Q4 of last year. So we don't have full numbers from last year of how that would have shaken out. Um, but for this year, oh, there's our estimated finals. So it looks like we're probably going to end up around 11,690 for this year, which is close to the 12,000 that we were getting previously. But like I said, as we lose subscribers, unfortunately, that number goes down as well now. And so I'm guessing we're probably going to be closer to the 10,500 mark next year. Um, and then this is our carryover from previous years of capital money that is in savings that we have not spent. Uh, yeah, okay, so I think that's all the notes I had on the budget. Or any questions?
Not really.
All right.
I
Nope.
guess I guess the question to the other people would be, do you want to put in a COLA for Nikki or just leave the budget the way it is?
If we can handle it, it sounds like we can. I'd certainly support it because I agree. Nikki does an outstanding job.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean it slightly increases the deficit, but not very much. And I think it's well worth it. Um,
We do a vote in a second, or
yeah, I mean, I was thinking, should we just say 2% or do you want to make it more than that? I don't recall exactly what the COLA is,
it's pretty close to that,
but it's
somewhere in
about,
that area.
are you okay with 2%, Nikki?
Yeah, that's fine. I
So
wasn't anticipating
why
anything.
don't, why don't we have, yeah, so why don't we have a vote on a 2% COLA for Nikki starting 1st of January?
Do we have a quorum for that?
I don't know. We don't,
Mhm.
but plug it into the budget, and then if we need a quorum to have a vote, then we can send around an email or something. I don't know, but
I think probably an email to officially get a quorum.
yeah.
I don't. What do we have on the board? We have how many people? 7 or something?
Um,
8?
no, it's not that many at this point.
Oh,
Um, so Heather and Ed aren't here. So
is
five?
3 a quorum?
Yeah, well, yeah, because three is the majority, right? 3 out of 5.
Well,
Okay.
you mentioned Kristen also, though.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, you're right.
I
Sorry,
think we
Kristen.
need one more to be a
Yeah,
quorum.
you're right. I think so.
In
Yeah, because
case we get audited, I think we got to do it this the
Probably
right way.
6 or 7. that
What's
we
that?
we probably have either 6 or 7 on the board, I would imagine.
yeah.
So
So
that
I,
would be 4, 4 or 5, right? Or 4 anyway.
so I think it's 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Kristen's not here, so
Needs to be 4.
So we just need one more person. That shouldn't be a problem.
yeah.
But anyways, well, Nikki, why don't you change that
Okay.
number
Yep, no
in the
problem.
thing, and then we can send the budget around and get people to vote by email or whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. I can do that. Um, so
Okay,
let's see.
so
So we did
what else
need
do we have?
also
Okay,
to
so I was literally beginning to put a chat in when we got kicked off. And the chat I was going to put in is that I will send all of you the copy of the license. I was looking at the license and it says that if we want to do it and pay for it, then they'll cooperate too. We just have to provide them the signal in a format that fits their process.
Talking about the high def.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the same way it was
Yeah.
X years
Yeah,
ago.
it's
Yeah.
on,
Okay.
it's on page 26, I think it is, or something
Okay.
like that. But anyway, I will send that out later on so that everybody will have a copy of it. And I don't know if it proves anything at all, but there is a process that we could do if we wanted to. But I think we would need to talk a lot about that
Yeah.
because of the money that would go into that when we have just been talking about operational difficulties.
Well, I think right now the immediate need is to stabilize our operational expenses
Exactly.
predictably, as I was just saying to Nikki. And as I said, I'll be happy to go plug in, build a predictive spreadsheet so that, we can go to the town, we know where we are, and we can ask for very specific things and commit to very specific results
Mhm.
rather than just, hey, we need to do this or this, so
That sounds good.
get things stabilized, which I think is important right now. So, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Great. Thank you, Ken. Appreciate that.
Mhm.
so then we're at the election of officers point.
Yes. And unfortunately neither of them are here.
But
But
if they're both willing, then we could certainly, I mean, we can even do that vote by email if we want to, but I think those of us who are here can certainly express our opinion now.
yeah, like I said, I had emailed with Heather, and she wasn't sure she'd be able to make it. But she didn't express that she did not want to be on the board anymore. So,
Mhm.
Okay,
and I'm sure Ed's fine. He just seemed to not be able to get connected.
right. Okay. Um,
So are we nominating at this point or?
yes, yeah, so we'll nominate Heather and Ed these 2-year terms, Nikki?
3 years.
3? Okay. So Heather and would be nominated, and so those present can vote on that, and then we can verify that by email or whatever with other people. But I'm fine with it.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. All right.
All right.
So your number 6 is other business.
Yeah, so I did have a few things that are sort of like out on the horizon that I just wanted to touch on real fast. There is the past couple select board meetings, there's been a little bit of talk about some repairs that the Houghton building is due for. It sounds like town hall as well. I don't really know much about it. I think they're going to be talking more about it at the next select board meeting. From what I could tell, it sounds like it's exterior work. So probably won't affect us too much, I wouldn't think. But like I said, I'll keep you guys updated and we'll find out more at the next select board meeting. Some of the stuff that I am focusing on in the near future, besides all the editing and scheduling and all the normal stuff that happens, working with Graham to get a handle on CDs and financial structures and all that super fun stuff. Um, we're going to retrieve any salvageable. Oh, Kristen, sorry, I'm interrupting myself here. Kristen's joining. So actually, we might have a quorum.
Cool.
Hey, Kristen.
Hi, I apologize. It's just these Tuesday nights are tough.
No problem. I understand. Sorry, it was the only night that like the most people could come.
No,
I
that's
know it's tough for you. So we're actually getting towards the end here, but I was
sorry about that.
oh, that's okay.
Well, Frank Lasseter is on also.
Yeah. Hi, Frank.
Hey, how you doing?
Frank.
Hi, the good old days.
So I was just going over a few things that are kind of on my to-do list here in the near future. So we need to collect any salvageable equipment that we've got at the high school because it's going to get torn down real soon. And then I also need to connect with someone over there about how the new auditorium is going to be set up, and like how we're going to be plugging into everything, for future town meetings and things like that. So I'll either reach out to Kirk or the building committee, and figure out who I can chat with to kind of start talking about some of those things.
You mean the AV plan that they're going to have?
Yeah, and when you
Well,
do that,
specifically,
Hmm?
was
when you
that?
do that, determine from them what is already in their plans, because it's
Mhm.
possible that they are going to be putting some equipment in the auditorium. If they are, some audiovisual equipment. If they are, then if that's already funded, then we don't have to worry about it. So you
Right.
need to find that out. I mean, I found that out, for example, that you may know that they're building a new EMT classroom and they're putting in a
Yeah.
simulated ambulance,
Yeah, that's really cool.
and the simulated ambulance is being paid for.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, there's equipment that needs
Yeah.
to go in it that isn't being paid for,
Okay.
but that their budget has been approved,
Hmm.
and so they will know whether or not. So when you go to talk with them about it, they will know what they're going to have in there
Hmm.
in that's in the budget already versus what they would need to raise money for or whatever it might be.
Right. Yeah, and this is specific to the auditorium itself. So, way back, before everything was approved at town meeting, I chatted with the architect and the planners about I think they're calling it the Black Box Studio, which is going to be the sort of multimedia room. It's the room where
Right.
the AV students will be, and also the room that will probably house the future school committee meetings. And so we talked about like what I would need in terms of connecting into that room for
Right.
our videos.
So,
Um, and
so
so,
do you know who manages that? That's why I just said somebody is going to be a project or a program manager for the AV plan for the school, because
right.
that stuff's going to be all over the school. There's going to be Cat 5
Mhm.
everywhere. There's going to be all kinds of Bluetooth here and there and everywhere else. And so if you are connected to that, I think we will probably be able to leverage some of that without having to
Exactly.
fund it ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh
But you got to
yeah.
be connected to the guy
Yeah.
who's managing it.
And in fact, I know a couple of years ago, the superintendent wanted to have a studio be built in the school.
Yeah,
Now, whether they got that or not, I don't know.
I think so. I think that's part of
If
the
that's the black
that's the
box,
black box
then
studio.
yes, you want to find out everything you can about it
Mhm.
because that's stuff we wouldn't have to buy and could
Right.
take advantage of and
And
and would
I
make our connections easier and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
That
think
would
that
make
it's
sense.
going to be pretty self-contained. Like it, from what we talked about back in that meeting, I mean, it seems like it should be pretty well like ready to go once the new high school is built without us really. I mean, we may need to buy something on our end to like decode or do something like
So
that, but
they're going to have in this studio almost certainly the ability for some high def uplinks, right?
oh yeah, of
So
course.
we don't have to buy that stuff if we can rent it. So another thing
Well,
I'll ask.
so
Go ahead.
video these days is mostly going over IP. So honestly, I'm not sure we'll need to buy anything.
Maybe not, but it lets you and I take this offline. Is there somebody you're speaking to there that is running this? Because I would like to ask some questions just to see, what we have available, because we may very well be able to leverage an awful lot of stuff
Yeah, well,
with
see,
no capital budget.
that's what I have to figure out is who is the person to talk
Yeah.
to. So
Who's
like I
running
said,
the AV program for the school? That's what you need to find out.
right, right. Well, I have a good relationship with Su Chi, who does IT for the school right now, but I don't know how involved he is in the actual construction part of all
He
of
may
this.
very well not be. He may be
Right.
he may be seen as a customer rather than and if he's the customer, they're going to give him the plan. And what I
Yeah,
would like to do is see what that plan is. We may or may not have any influence over the plan.
sure.
However, if we understand what's coming, it will affect our capital budget and our
Yeah.
plan, you know.
So guys, it looks like Zoom is gonna kick me off here in another 10 minutes. I I hate Zoom.
We'll
So
take this offline after the meeting. I don't want to hijack the meeting.
yes. So
We'll talk.
sorry. I'm gonna kind of just speed through the rest of this. So there's that. I'm working on adding some new stuff to the website, some news. Actually, I think it was Frank had suggested like getting our like annual report up on the website and stuff, which is a great idea. I just haven't had time to get it there yet. And then I wanted to touch on Rick Merrill had sent me an email and asked sorry, let me find it real fast here. Uh, do, 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 do. uh where did it go? Sorry. Now that I'm trying to hurry, of course, I can't find anything. Rick asked how many estimated Comcast TV subscribers are in Bolton, and how many of them during the year might have viewed either Channel 2 and or Channel 8. So these are gonna be real rough guesstimates, because oh, hey, there's Rick right now, actually. Well, that's really good timing. Um, we've got 8 minutes. Are you there, Rick?
Yep, he's there.
Okay, cool. So I was just getting to there you are. Great. This is perfect timing, Rick. We only have 8 minutes left in our Zoom meeting. It's about to kick us off. I was just getting to the question you had emailed me about estimated Comcast subscribers and how many of them might have viewed Channel 22 or Channel 8. So obviously this is a rough guesstimate because Comcast doesn't give us those numbers. So I can say I believe we have about 900 subscribers in town with traditional cable packages. That's based on our capital quarterly funds, um, divided by the month and then divided by $1.07. And then honestly, I have no idea how many people are watching on the TV. The survey that we did in 2022 for the new cable contract, we had 186 total respondents. Out of those, 15 indicated that they only watch us on television. 35 indicated that they watch us on both the TV and online. And then there were a number of other respondents who indicated that they only watch online. So that's really the best I have to go off of for that. I know that's not great intel, but without like actual numbers from Comcast, that's my best guess. So that's everything I have, guys. Anything, any other questions, comments?
Frank or Rick, did you have anything that you wanted to make us
No, I
aware
think
of?
that covers my question. So, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't have a question.
Okay. Now I can include both of you if you want, but I'm going to send people the license that we got with Comcast, because in it there's discussion of what needs to be done to do HD and who needs to do what to whom and things of that sort. So they didn't give us a channel, but they didn't say we couldn't have it either. So, but as Graham said, we really need to get our arms around operational costs and cash flow and stuff before we worry about something like HD, because there would be a cost involved in doing that. And as we showed in the budget earlier, we have a deficit each year, and we do have a bank account, so it's not running out tomorrow, but still it's something we need to be careful of and to talk with the town about. And so
We'll do
I
some
will
work on
send
that
out that information so everybody will have it.
Yeah, we'll do some work on that in Q1 anyway to see where we are.
Right.
Rick?
I think most of the producers that we know of, including kids with their own system at home, are already producing everything in HD.
Mhm.
So they don't even consider putting it on the TV if it's going to be less than that.
Well, everything that's
yes.
online is HD. I mean, we record everything in HD. It gets
Yes.
downgraded, unfortunately, for the TV. There's actually a box called the Decimator in the server room that literally takes our beautiful HD signal and degrades it and puts it out to
Oh,
Comcast because that's what they require.
yeah.
So it's sad. So if you watch it on YouTube, well, not the school committee meetings, but if you were to watch a video that Buffy produced, for example, on YouTube, beautiful. It's great. It's HD. Sometimes it's in 4K, depending on what camera we've used.
Yep.
But the TV, sadly, that's not the case.
Yep. Oops. That's better.
So you're going to send out the license, Ken?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll start by reading that, and then we need to find out what the school's offering, just so that we know what we've got for a plan without spending a lot of capital, because let's assume we don't have capital, so let's see what we can leverage.
Yeah, definitely. Every little bit we can save is good.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And well, Nick, you probably have contacts, but if you don't, let me know and I can contact some of mine as well, because
Okay.
kind of working closely with the superintendent's office as well as the high school principal and so forth on the EMT program. And so it's would be very easy to just ask about the auditorium too.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't see that as a problem. One other thing we haven't talked about, but that we ought to talk about for the future is fundraising to get donations, because we basically, if I read the budget correctly, we basically didn't really get any donations.
Yeah, we
this
just got
year. And
$100.
so
Just got $100 this year.
once we have figured out what the financial situation is and can tell everybody, then that's the time to go out and say, hey guys, can you help out? Because here's what we're doing for you.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't budget anything for it, but we ought to talk about doing it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
And as a nonprofit, it's tax deductible and that kind of thing. So it's worth checking on.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've pointed out in the past that people who are surfing the TV set are generally surfing it in high definition only. So they will never run into channel 22 or channel 8 even,
Yeah.
unless they force their set-top box to be for standard definition.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing is true when they do it online. They're
Yeah. Yep. That's absolutely correct.
And I think that's why we need to try to get there because we just have to lead this.
Yeah, we just have to figure out how much that costs and that sort of thing. So we'll do all of that and
As
see where
as
we
a bill payer, I watched the cost, and it costs a subscriber about $4 a month
Mhm.
to have and to pay the fees
Yeah.
for the franchise. And so, WGBH would be delighted if everybody gave that much to to them.
But that money doesn't come back to us.
Well, it's actually how the Comcast looks at it. They look at it.
Right. Yeah. They charge people to make up for the fact that they are required to pay that
Yeah.
franchise fee.
So
Guys, I think the meeting is
we have
about to
less than a
die.
minute.
Sorry.
So
Why?
we have less than a minute, so we need to sign off, I guess.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, sorry guys.
so-
You
I
don't
tried
have a
to
paid?
upgrade Zoom and it didn't work, which is
Yeah.
a hassle.
Oh,
and if you want to schedule another meeting later, Nikki, I'll be happy to set it up because I can do it easily.